Hey guys, let's chitty chat. Hearts are flying. You guys are awesome. Slave to fear. Top of the day to ya. What's up, Susan? Raleigh, McKenzie, Denver, Colorado. I miss Colorado. I'm ready to get back out there. Little Elm. Oh, hold on. I meant to spin the camera before I set it down, and I didn't. I just smashed you into my pen holder. Sup, Emoji King? That's right. I am the Emoji King. I use all these emojis. Oh yeah, I love this one. Give you guys a second. Give you guys a second to sign on. If you're new to the scopes, tap the screen releases hearts. You can swipe to share. You can do whatever you want. Glad you guys are on. Look forward to your scopes every day. Well, good. Well, I enjoy doing them. Here goes. We're going to talk about fear just a little bit. I'm going to do a whole scope on it with some other emotional stuff and how it relates to function and health. But I'm going to use it as an example today and talk about, are you back in your routine from the Ohio visit, Jamie? Sure. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I was back in the routine, Monday. Is that my work office? Yes. This is my crib. I'm going to be on tonight, Periscoping, because we have an event tonight here at the office where we are combining worship music with prophetic movement, with essential oils for emotional release and the frequencies of all three. And we're combining those here. And so I am going to Periscope that for you guys. I don't know about the whole thing, but especially the teaching part and what that means and part of the worship so you can see how that works. Hey, Nashville. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be awesome. Well, I enjoy hanging out with y'all, and I enjoy you guys learning. I mean, this is all about you guys learning. So I want to talk today a little bit about emotional healing with essential oils, but I want to give you some practical application because Vanessa, the oil releaser, and I, and if you do not follow her, and if she's on here, Vanessa, if you're on here, give them a hey or something like that so they know you're here. I don't know if she's on or not, but she just put up a Periscope on releasing emotions in kids. Go check it out. There she is. Oh, that's not her. No, that's Susan. Like when, if Vanessa signs on, I'll get her to say hi. Oh, is she right now? I thought she just finished. So she's talking about emotions in kids, and that's where really it all starts. And so I want to talk about that too eventually, but she's doing a fantastic job. What I'm going to talk to you about a little bit today is a little bit about how the emotions get embedded and how they get stuck inside those pathways. And then the practical application of what the oils do, what they literally do to break it off, and what you're going to do with the oils all the time. And in order to do practical application, I have my oils here. There you go. So I'm going to show you how this works. Now, all you need to really reset emotional stressors and emotional, issues inside the nervous system is Jesus, for one, this, a pad of paper, a pen, which I'm going to teach them how to do tonight, a journal, here's my leather journal, okay, that I get from Iona Handcrafted Books. I'll show you guys these later on. It's fantastic and awesome. Emotional release oils of your choice. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of my favorite ones on emotional release. Let me find them first in here. Okay. And then we're going to do some practical application. Okay, so the emotional blends and everything are specifically formulated to help with frequencies on different emotion, to help lift spirits and help break down. No, it does not have lines, Sarah. It's very blue. It does not have lines, okay? And so the emotional oils are specifically formulated to be able to promote feelings of... well, it just depends on the person. That's the way I got to describe it because the frequencies change. So here's two of my favorite ones, right? These are two that I use all the time. White Angelica, this guy, or girl, whatever, and Awaken, okay? So both of these are blends that I really like. So let's do some practical application, and let me talk about a couple of things that they really do, 2 or 3 that they activate inside your cells, and then let's do it. Like I'm going to put it on myself, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. All right, and there's 2 different ways to do it, okay? Now, here's what you need to know. Essential oils work because the frequencies work no matter what your body does. You're going to get changes from them no matter what, right? They're fantastic. Now, as far as the way that they work for emotions, topical and aromatic are the best because you're trying to use specific pathways. Doing them dietary, like in water and stuff like that, doesn't work as well, even though it's still going to work. It doesn't work as well for the emotional side because you're trying to activate specific neurological pathways, and so touch and smell are better for that. Okay, so just practical on that. Now, the 2 things that happen that essential oils really work well for is, first off, when you have a really bad and negative emotional event, and I'm going to talk about, since this is no longer slaves to fear, and the whole song with Bethel is talking about how fear can enslave you, and fear like grips you and holds on to you, a lot like a shirt that's way too small and way too tight that gets wet, that just sticks on you and you can't get off, right? And fear is really powerful. It's the most powerful emotion, period, except for love. Okay, so that's why it says in Scripture, it says perfect love casts out fear, because the only emotion that is stronger than fear is love. And the only way to break off fear is with love. Repetitive, consistent, specific, intentional, okay? If it's happening again, then you got to keep up and you got to go through. It is a battle every single day. It's a battle all day, every day. And the thing that you guys don't understand is that it's not a one-time war. It is a war. It's not a battle. Battles are little skirmishes. It's a war. War is a long-term, hard-fought, lots of loss on both sides, right? Battles are like little skirmishes. Like you get a fight with their scouts and stuff like that. That's not what this is. When you're working through emotions, it is war. For you to be able to walk through it, to be able to get out of it, and you have to fight your way out. They don't just fall on you and fall off of you. That's not what happens. They don't just like roll off. Now, the Father can completely miraculously heal you of that. Absolutely. Like, you can walk in and he go, poof, you're done with that, and it can fall off you. That can happen. But on a normal functional day, he's already healed you on it, so he doesn't have to do that again. Your body already has 100% healing inside of it. You're created perfectly for perfect function. We heap things on ourselves, and then things are done to us that create stressors and create problems in our life that we have to deal with. Stuff happens. So when a negative event happens and you have a really negative emotional event, and we're going to take fear. If that happens, it gets way down in your neurology and it creates a really, really strong connection immediately. Now, unless it's reset really quickly right after, then what happens is that fear, using fear as an example, that fear will settle inside the nervous system, and it's literally like a festering wound, and it will slowly, like scar tissue, creep around in the nervous system, and it will create more connections, and that pathway to that fear will get stronger and stronger because you're using it over and over, because you're like, oh my gosh, well, what about that? And man, I'm so afraid that X is going to happen with my kids, or I'm so afraid that Y is going to happen with my friend or whatever. And you fire that fear pathway so often that the nerve gets thicker because you build up more fatty layering around the nerve to that. It snowballs, absolutely. And it creates more and more and more real estate. So what happens is that's why it becomes easier and easier for you to create more and more fear. That's what happens. It is overactive, but it's not so much overactive overall as it is overfiring one wrong pathway. Does that make sense? Like whether it's an identity thing and you're calling something out, or it's just literally fear overall, and fear is just gripping you all the way around your life. Using that as just an example. And this isn't a total thing about fear. I'll do another one about that later and frequencies. I don't know, but I just feel like this is something that a lot of you guys are dealing with on here today. So let's talk about that just as our example, okay? So when that happens, all of the nerves, literally each nerve looks like my arm, hand, and fingers. This is exactly what they look like, okay? So picture this part of the nerve is called the nerve root. So as it comes out of the spine or out of the brain, right? This is the nerve root. Then my palm is called the axon. It's the body of the nerve right here, okay? Then these little pieces that come off of it are called the dendrites. Well, what they do is, let's say that this is the spot in my brain for sensation or emotion, right? Well, that nerve, if this nerve fires fear, what happens is the nerve that gets created comes out, grabs, wraps around, and grips. And you create more dendrites, these pieces, off of the axon, the body, coming from the root, because it has to come here. Ooh, man, that just brought up, you could totally talk about like pulling weeds and pulling the roots and getting down to the root cause. Woo, man, we could keep going on that. Bam. Is she giggling? Good. Well, I love your toddler. She's awesome. So when it attaches and the nerve literally connects to that part due to that emotion or that movement, whether you're doing a bicep curl or a fear response, the more you fire the nerve, the more dendrites get formed, the more connections, then the harder it connects, then the more it wraps around, okay? And so it creates a situation where no matter what happens in life, you go, boom, fear, instant, or whatever, anxiety or anger or whatever your emotional thing is, depending on what happens, depending on what happened early on, right? Depending on what happened in childhood, depending on what happened and whatever. In the last week, since I've been back from Ohio, there was so many things that got released in Ohio in an amazing way, and there was so much work that got done there that I was like, man, it's going to be sticky coming back. There's some stuff that's going to happen in the office. Well, that's not what happened. There was nothing that we had to fight off more. I mean, we are at battle all the time. But when I walked into the office this week, I've had more heavy cases, emotionally driven, than I have in weeks and weeks and weeks. People who are coming in telling me they're suicidal, to telling me, like their marriage is almost over and it's because of these pathways and because of fear and emotion, telling me that, they're telling me stories of how much abuse that they were under when they were kids, telling me that they've found out that they have cancer and they're gripped with fear and they're having surgery right now in an hour, one of them. So pray for this patient. She's having surgery for thyroid cancer in an hour and she's freaking out. That's been, another couple came in dealing with tons of anger and tons of fear because their best friend had just died 2 days before that from cancer. This is just this week, since Monday, okay? Just this week since Monday. So just over and over and over. So the struggle is real, okay? It's real on this to be able to reset it, but you have to constantly do it. I mean, life is going to throw stuff at you all the time. And so that armor, when it says put on the armor of God, the full armor, so that you can stand the darts of the enemy, it's a constant thing. It's not like you get to take it off, okay, ever. Okay, so when that happens, when the other thing is, we're going to talk about it, when that nerve gets really strong, underneath every spot, this right here, where this dendrite is touching, is called a receptor site, okay? You see it? This right here is called a receptor site. Between this connection, if this is the nerve and this is where it's connecting, between the connection, there are chemicals and hormones that go across the connection that communicate. It's not like a water hose. It's like an electrical wire that creates electric impulses right here. And so those chemicals, if you're creating negative pathways, it will build up toxic chemicals around the actual receptor site right there, okay? And it gets junked up and built up, like, I don't know how to describe it, like on your battery. That's exactly how it is. On your battery, how if it gets a bad connection, it builds up all that crusty stuff around the actual battery where the battery cable attaches, and sometimes the alternator doesn't reboot or your car won't start because the battery isn't connecting. Well, it's like that, except you're over-connecting, and it's like over-firing, and you get so much change because there's so much gunk gets built up in there. Okay. So what that means is that it's literally the broken record effect. You're like over and 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 over, and you create the same response over and over and over and over. And you just get in this pit and this rut, and you get this rut over and over. Well, you've got to break that cycle, and you've got to be able to get off the merry-go-round, and you got to get off of that, or you're going to keep seeing what you've been seeing. You're going to keep doing what you've been doing. You're going to keep experiencing what you've been experiencing, right? Right? Where are you? Where's mine? Here it is. Boom. If you don't get off of that merry-go-round, it's the same scenery over and over and over. Okay, so you've got to get off, so you have to stop that record player from playing. And one of the things that essential oils do is, because of the things found inside them, and you can go reset it, or you can go research it. You said reset. You can go research it, but what happens is they clean the receptor sites, and this is what Susan just mentioned. Now, what that means, when I say that essential oils clean the receptor sites on nerves, it means that that area that is consistently firing over and over and over, fear, 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 shame, 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 fear, shame, fear, fear, and it's over and over and over, you have to swipe that off. You want to get that sticky stuff off of the nerves, just like cleaning off the battery. Like, remember how you guys used to would get red can Coke, pour it on the battery to eat that corrosion off, get that junk off of there and clean it. And then you can tighten the cables down, and you've got what? A better connection to get true current, true power. Woohoo! To make your engine work better. Bam, people. That's awesome. I mean, come on. We could preach on that for days now. Days. That's huge. So when you get the junk out of the way, the power can flow. What? Done. Bam. Right there. That's it. That's totally it for y'all. But in all seriousness, so when you clean it off, yes, I know, everything is visual. It's why the Lord created it like that. Like, everything's visual because He wants you to see it. He wants you to see how this works. It is double mic drop for days. You're going to be brewing on this for a long time. Now, the reason this is so important is we're doing an event tonight to help people break off emotional stressors and emotional and spiritual bondage. That's why it's called bondage, because it weighs on you and it shackles you, and you have to break the chains. It's not like untying your shoelaces, okay? It's not like untying your shoelaces. It's literally, yes, you can say that. It's literally breaking the chains of bondage and of the fear and stuff off of you, okay? All right, so here's the other thing that essential oils do when you're healing through emotions, is they activate certain pathways for certain memories or certain healing. So let's do, for example, they activate certain pathways. So when you have a sensation or a thought or whatever, let me say how this works. Let me give you the pathway again in the brain. And then I'm going to explain why smell is so huge for this and what it does, okay? And I'm not going to keep you all day, but this is huge, okay? Good. I'm glad you're geeking out. Me too. All right. You ready? So when you have a sensation in the body, and let's say that we're going to use emotions again because we're in the emotional discussion. Let's say I have someone sit here and they're a friend of mine, okay? And they're a friend of mine, and they say something really rude to me or mean or hurtful. You know, like friends can do that, you know? So if they say something hurtful to me, right, then I hear it. It's a sensation that my body and my brain has to evaluate and figure out what I think about it and what I'm going to do with it, okay? But the spiritual realm of this is so much different. So let me show you how this works. You ready? Here's how this works. So when that sensation hits me, that negative comment or that insult or that whatever, non-love is what all of it is. It's either love or not love. That's it, right? And so it's either life or death, love or not love. So if they do not talk to me lovingly, then my brain in the prefrontal cortex right here, okay, my prefrontal cortex goes, hey, he talked to me. It realizes what type of sensation it was. It says, he talked to me. It sends it back here to the back part of my brain on an area called Wernicke's area, which is, did I see it, smell it, hear it, feel it, taste it? It evaluates the senses. And so right here, it localizes it. It said the guy that was talking to me is sitting over there. So he's there. It sends it back here. It says it was sound. I heard it. Then that sensation goes forward in the brain. I'm over here in the middle, okay? Wernicke's area is W-E-R-N-I-C-K-E, Wernicke's. When it moves forward, and you don't need to take notes on this unless you're geeking out and you have a medical background like Susan and you just want to, the rest of you, I just want you to hear this. Prefrontal cortex, that's it. Mary Jane right there. Prefrontal cortex goes back to Wernicke's area. That tells you what type of sensation your brain registers. That way you don't feel him hit you, you hear him hit you, right? And so then, awesome. Okay, love this. So then the brain sends that signal forward to a part of the brain called the limbic system. The limbic system is completely responsible for telling your brain whether or not it's pleasure or pain, whether it's good or bad, whether you like it or you don't like it, okay? Or whether it's really neither. Like, it's not that you like it or don't like it, but there's nothing. Like, it's kind of a non-thing. Like, if we're talking and we're just talking normal, then that's still a sensation, but it doesn't elicit a response. That makes sense? So if he insults me and he throws something non-loving at me, once it hits my limbic system and it goes, ow, that hurt because he said that and that was hurtful and I don't like it, then it sends a signal back to the frontal cortex, but it's the post-central, okay? The post-central, because what happens is it needs to figure out what to do. The frontal cortex is all about action, and it's about like doing things and doing something. So if he says something to me, or to any of y'all, and my friend says something insulting and I need to respond, or it hurts my feelings, then I'm gonna have some kind of a response. Like I'm gonna go, what was that? Or what's your problem? Or, oh yeah? Or whatever. Or, if someone's like overreacting, what if the same thing elicits such a strong response in me that I hit him, or I shove him off of me, or I throw something at him, or whatever. That's the motor response to the emotional or the sensory stimulation, okay? Okay. Fear and emotional stuff and spiritual stuff, like they throw something on you like that, is different than typical sensation because it has spiritual connotation and it has emotional ties, which is deeper, or you cry, that's right, Grant, which is deeper. That's all more personality, like what your brain bouncing is. It's fight or flight, exactly right, which fires your adrenal glands. And then we've got everything we've talked about. So it's deeper. It gets deeper into the nervous system. It creates deeper layering than like pricking your finger, because that's not a direct attack on your identity. It's not a direct attack on your belief system or on your world, right? So what the essential oils do is when they activate certain pathways, there is a specific event that happens when you are in an environment that you get hurt in, okay? So when I'm sitting next to my friend, let's say as in my example, and he says something hurtful to me, my brain goes stamp, and it stamps a memory of this whole situation in this room, in this where we were sitting, and the whole like what happened in my brain, so that I never remember it. I never forget it again until I break it off, right? Until I break it off. If I don't break it off, I'll never forget what happened here. It's called the anamnestic response. It means you will never have amnesia, the anamnestic response in the brain. You'll never have amnesia to this again, and you're not going to let him do that to you again, because that's not healthy. So if he trips me twice going out the door, shame me once, hurt me once, shame on me, hurt me twice, or hurt me once, shame on you. What is it? Hurt me twice, trick me once, trick me twice, shame on me, right? Your brain won't let that happen, and it's going to remember, and you're guarded, and your body goes into more fight, okay? Now, the essential oils that you pick, whether it's Awaken or even as a better one to like, since you guys, and I've dealt with so many people this week that have had sexual and physical abuse that have brought this up, and we're getting them resources to get them help. Trauma Life is one to help with really heavy emotional traumas and stuff, right? Well, with Trauma Life, with this little guy, Trauma Life will activate memories and pathways of other trauma and emotional trauma. Sarah is another one. But Trauma Life will bring up stuff that you have shoved down, because the brain will only let you feel the emotion for a brief period of time before it covers it up. So when it knows that you can't handle all of it, it starts to stuff a lot of it, and it starts to it's called regression. And so in repression, it starts to repress things. Hey, Mark, it starts to put them in boxes so that you're not actively feeling them because they're painful, right? It doesn't want to hold on to that hot red piece of metal. It wants to put it down. Yeah, release is great. I mean, I got a whole carrier full of emotional blends for tonight to be able to use in diffusers and stuff. Now, the reason that the breathing is so key, and the reason that why would you want to bring it back? Because when you got to a point of emotional stability and the Lord has healed you, in order to heal it, you've got to feel it. In order to reset that pathway, you have to bring back the actual memory, not like it was necessarily, but you've got to bring it up to let it go. You've got to activate it and bring it in the front of the brain for your brain to be able to lay down and reset a new pathway and a new nerve. It's a great question, right? Why would you want to feel it? That's the whole point. Most people are like, no, I don't want to feel it. Like, they don't want to like face it. They don't want to deal with it. I mean, and I get it. Which a lot of stuff, after this last couple of years, that I'm like, I'd rather not mess with that. But I'm a lot more like walk into the danger kind of guy. Like, I'm walking to the fire. Let's feel it. Let's get in it. Let's own it. That way we get through it quicker, and we understand our purpose in it, and then we get through it, right? I mean, but in order for your body to activate it, if you don't bring it forward, your brain will hold it off forever until you get in some situation later on in life, and you're, somewhere that you're not even paying attention. And then, well, I'll talk about that. about if you don't know what it is, and wouldn't bring up, yeah, it does bring up some stuff, and then you literally like specifically work through it. I'm going to show you this. So then if you get into a situation later on that's similar to when it happened, even if you don't remember, you were too little, and someone says something or does something and it activates that old pathway, then you have an emotional response to that, whether it's anger or fear or like uncontrollable crying or whatever it is, to show you that something else is coming up, okay? So here's a practical application of this. Now, the reason, I'm going to talk about it, one more thing, and I'm going to talk about journaling for just a second, and then I'm going to show you how we do this, okay? The stress response that happens in the body due to different environmental things, there's only a couple of things that can stop it in its tracks. Movement and activity, exercise stops the stress response inside the body neurologically because you're moving. It's a completely different pathway in the brain. You cannot stress out actively and work out. You're either stressing or working out. You either are running or you're stopping and you're breaking up. Prayer will do it. Prayer goes into the choice factor though of you like actively choosing to not stress out. So and I don't want to say not praying correctly. I don't want you guys to get that like there's a way that you're going to mess up prayer and it's not going to work for you. It's not like that. But you actively choosing to not stress. I'm not going to stress about this, and then praying for that situation or whatever. Yes, that changes it. The other thing is essential oils will break down the stress response because what they do is they block the stress receptors and they block the stress pathways and they reduce stress in those same pathways because you're putting them around the areas where you lodge stress. It's a great question, Mary Jane. Let's talk about it right now. So what do you do? Like the reason I like journaling, and y'all said like, you know, when you are, and look at all this handmade paper. This thing is legit. Love it. And I've got a bunch of stuff in here. So the reason that I love journaling, and the reason I use it a lot, is because I will go, okay, I'm going to write down things and pray through things that I really want to talk to the Father about, what I want to know about, okay? This is journals I keep. If I'm working through an old emotional trauma and I want to really feel it and understand it and be able to pray through it, then I want to journal it while I'm using the oil. If I'm just wanting to vent and I'm just wanting to balance the nervous system and I'm just wanting to create stress relief, but I'm not really wanting to move through that pathway, then I want to use paper like this. I want to use just a lined piece of paper that I can tear off, that you can just like work through. Yep, and that journaling is huge left brain activity, which is the side of the nervous system that reduces stress and anxiety, okay? It increases digestive function, helps with neurotransmitter production, all that. Now, so if I'm going to work through a specific thing and I'm going to set aside time to be able to emotionally engage and let the Lord bring something out that I want to work on, then I'm going to use either a specific thing, Trauma Life, or I'm going to use, what else did I bring? Transformation, or I'm going to use, let's see. Oh, I love that one. Gathering. There's gratitude. Did I bring? I did not bring. Oh, here's one. Surrender. Okay. Surrender is awesome. So if I'm having an issue surrendering something, or I just really can't give something up and I want to get into it, then I'll take this oil. Here, let's do it right now. Ready? I'm going to show you. So these are topical aromatic oils, which means that you can put a couple of drops, okay? Surrender or release. See? Susan, get out of my head, girl. Okay? Okay. So here's how easy it works. Bam. I just fired the pathway. Like literally, right? So there's a couple different ways that you can use the oil. With an oil like this, you can diffuse it in a diffuser. I don't have it in here, and it creates ionic particles and puts it into the air so you can breathe it in, get it in the lungs. And the blood vessels inside the lungs, the capillaries, are so small, and there's so many of them, okay? And there's so many of them that it gets the oil into the body really quickly. It saturates your body really fast. And with diffusing and getting this, aromatically, in less than 20 minutes, this essential oil will be in every cell in your body. Crazy sucks, right? So what we're wanting to do with it is we're wanting to apply it topically. So there's a couple different options, right? You can either put a drop or two on your arm, right? But I'm going to show you what I do to work on, like if I wanted to work on stress stuff, I put it in the back of my neck. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put a drop on my skin, boom, like that. Can you see it? Right there. And then I'm just going to rub it in with my other arm. But afterwards, one thing that you do, now let's say that we're working through a specific, emotional thing. Then what I do is I put it on, or I put it in my hand, and I really smell it. Like, I want to drive it in because I want it to activate, and I want to drive it through my nose up into it's called the olfactory bulb. It's where you smell to take it back up into the brain, because that pathway goes right under the plate where your limbic system sets. Boom! You're literally taking this. Oh man, this smells ridiculously good. I'm wearing this all afternoon. For sure. This one's awesome. I haven't put this one on so long, I forgot what it smelled like, right? Okay, I don't know what it is, man. Okay, that's another thing. Just grab one, pray through which one to use, and use it. It's gonna rock your world. Okay, so what I want you to do with this is you put this on, and then I would literally, this is surrender oil, essential oil. Okay, so you would put it on. I smell it, really get into my system. Okay, and then I take my journal. And I put the date on it. So today is the 22nd. Okay. And I pray through, literally think on what is it that's in me that I need to surrender, or what is going on emotionally. And I really think through, and I'm going to give myself a time limit, like 15, 20 minutes or so, just so my brain doesn't feel like I'm just like wandering through. And then I'm going to write down. And I'll tell you right now why I picked surrender. I'll tell you, and this is crazy. You guys are going to go, what? We're like trying to decide like different things to do with our chiropractic office that we need to do and choose on real quick. And there's things that we're struggling with, that we're having issues with the corporate company on a franchise that we work with on, just to be transparent with you, right? And I really want to take care of it myself. That's what I have to surrender. That's what this is about. Right? So that's something that I'll journal through. I've got to journal through this process because there's truths in all of it that the Lord wants to show you to go, okay, here it is. Here's the thing. Okay, thanks, Susie. Here's the thing, and here's what we need to work through. So that's what I need to surrender, and that's what I need to give up. Here's the thing. Claire Smith in Ohio in Ohio last week. Claire Smith spoke, and she was one of the first speakers. And she said, one of her quotes was, she goes, "I'm not trying to balance my life. I'm trying to surrender my life." And that was her quote. Whoa, that was huge. And she showed the fact that in order to surrender, how the posture of that had to be in order for you to be able to surrender what you've got on your chest, surrender what you've got on your plate, on your shoulders, whatever, right? Okay, now the other way, okay, the other way, I'm going to use awaken for this. I mean, that is like jazzing my brain. I can't even tell you. I got all this stuff going. I'm going to have to go journal after this, literally. The other thing, I'm going to use awaken for this. You know what? No, I'm going to use white angelica. White angelica is really protective. And so white angelica is one that is, it's really protective if you're going to be around people that may put those negative things on you. So it's literally like more of like armor for you to be able to protect yourself. It's super clean smelling. So this is what I do, like to just wear an emotional oil. I want to put it right at the base of the skull because that's closer to the brainstem to be able to let the nervous system take it in. Doesn't mean that if you put it on your feet it ain't gonna work or you diffuse it. It's gonna be good, but I do it this way. So I'm gonna do like 2 drops. It's thicker. Blunk. Blunk. There you go. Ready? 2 drops. One on the back of my neck. Just like that. Smell it. Bam. Just like that. Now, should you diffuse, like, should you, dilute these and stuff? Maybe. I want you to go slow. If you've never used emotional oils before and you're not a major emotional person, then beware, like, just go slow, and really pay attention to what you're putting on, but pay attention to what you feel, and you might want to just, like, make sure that you're using the oil around a time when you can really work through stuff, right? And not to be scared about it, like there's nothing, to be fearful, but it's just they work and they create changes. And so emotional oils in kids, yeah, you can do that on their ears, but honestly, I do it just down their spine. I put a couple drops on my fingers, and then I go swoop, and there it is. He's talked about activating before. Yep. Okay, Sarah is one that's more for like really intense trauma and abuse. Okay, and that's really how it works. So I want to show you guys that. I just want to go through the practical. And the practical every day is like, you know, like every day I pick a different emotional blend because I want it to reduce my stress levels and I want it to be able to support my nervous system so that I'm not making these pathways stronger for certain fears or for certain thoughts or certain, you know, whatever, right? So that I'm making sure and stewarding my nervous system correctly to not create pathways that I can't break off. I know, smell that. Oh man, that's awesome. Super awesome. Yeah, I like the white Angelica. Okay, Stress Away is awesome for stress relief and for stress support. It's a really good one. You know, I like it too a lot. It helps with stress response. I don't use it as a major emotional resetting blend. What do you do if you don't know where it's from or whatever? Then you keep journaling. And you keep asking yourself questions, and you really go back and you really mentally dig into when you were a kid in different situations and ask your parents like, hey, was there any time where I was really fearful, or did I have a situation ever where I was really scared or I was hurt emotionally or stuff like that, okay? Stress away in public, sure. Yeah, I mean, it helps with stress response. It's not one that I go to for emotional rebalancing. We'll leave you emotionally wide open, be prepared. Sometimes it makes it a little bit raw because it opens up those pathways. Private message me on the child abuse. Private message me and give you some resources. Okay. All right. You guys are awesome. Was this helpful? Give me a thumbs up or a number 1 if this was really helpful or if this gave you some information or something that you didn't know or you hadn't heard. Yes? Helpful? Useful? Okay. Good. Good. Okay, perfect. That's what I want to do for y'all today. All right, tonight I'm going to get back on Periscope when we start the worship night. You know, like I said, I'm probably not going to scope it all, but I want you guys to experience it and feel it. And so I will get you guys some resources when I post this later on, and it'll be good. You guys are awesome. Just be consistent. Don't be afraid of it. Like, don't be afraid of that doesn't make sense. Like, fearing the emotion, you're creating more fear, but don't be afraid of the process on it because in order to heal it, you have to feel it. All right? You guys are doing fantastic. I pray for you guys all the time. You guys are a huge reason why I do this, okay? And so I'm excited to be able to take you further into this. Get on Vanessa Scopes, the oil releaser, watch her emotional stuff. Look for her, she's coming to Georgia and stuff like that. That's amazing. And then, yeah, we'll walk it out. Here's the website for other videos and stuff. The Facebook page is on there. We've got an app. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. There's my gorgeous bride right there. Bring me lunch because she's amazing. Okay, you guys are awesome. I'm going to let you go. And remember, health is simple. It just ain't easy. Keep walking.